Welcome to Bishop Chronicles. Sorry it took so long, man. I was traveling, and when I got back, my body clock was wiped because not too long ago I've been to the UK. Shout out to IMA Leeds and all my jiu-jitsu partners over there, and just been running. When I got back, went to Albany State. Amazing talk at Albany State, but my body clock was wiped. Like I woke up on Sunday, I thought it was Monday. I was getting ready to go to work. You know what I'm saying? So I apologize. I hope you have been well. This week, we're talking about the Stoic virtue of temperance, also known as balance, which is why I thought it was Monday when it was Sunday, because I was out of balance. So this is a good thing. I started teaching a small class at Alternatives in Action in Oakland, California. Shout out to Dr. Z, you know what I'm saying, Daniel Zarazua, who invited me out. And I teach a class on jiu-jitsu and philosophy, which is not the first time I've done it. It is the first time I've done it for a high school. I did it for a junior high, right? Tamalpais in Richmond was the first class that I did, like Stoicism and Jiu-Jitsu. So this is a class for high schoolers on Stoicism and Jiu-Jitsu. So we were talking about balance, and it was just such a perfect conversation for these young people. I do also want to say that, when we talk about things like being in high school and talking with teenagers and junior high students about big ideas from Stoic philosophy, from Taoism, from ancient Kemetic, also known as Egyptian wisdom systems and things like that. Like, we greatly underestimate what our children are capable of learning. And I don't mean that like wag a finger at you and make you understand something. I'm talking about the child's ability to understand, discern, and comb through different really big ideas. I have to say, when I was at Tamalpais, and I think was this pre-COVID? Might have been pre-COVID. No, it wasn't. It was after COVID. But my point is, man, these kids were amazing. They understood all of the Stoic virtues. They understood the things that Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus were talking about, and they could apply them to their lives. And so I think sometimes a lot of educators and a lot of systems in public, private, and charter schools do the kids a big disservice because they pretend that they're not ready. But the truth is they are. In any case, I went and I did this week's on temperance, and we had a fantastic conversation. Now, from a jiu-jitsu perspective, I showed a move called the arm drag, right? Which is a way where you basically pretend that you're in reach of a person, but you're slightly out. And when they reach for you, you use their overextension to off balance them and get behind that person, right? And so I started by just asking kids, right? How can we look at the importance of being balanced and grounded in a physical confrontation as we be balanced and grounded in life in general, right? And so I said, okay, well, how much y'all like video games? Everybody raise their hand. All right, come on, man. So everybody raise their hand. I said, well, what video do you like? What video game do you like? What video game do you like? What video game do you like? They all liked, obviously, different ones, right? Some kid liked GTA. Most of them play games that I don't know because I don't know that many video games. I'm not a heavy duty gamer. Unless it's Tekken and then you can get housed. Do you know what I'm saying? I will drag you. Other than that, though, and FIFA, not so much. But my point is, everybody said what they like. I said, okay, cool. So let's say it's a Saturday, you ain't got nothing to do, there's food all in the house, and nobody's around. What is the minimum amount of time that you're going to game? They all said around 2 hours. I said, okay, but what's the most you're going to game? And they were like, maybe 4 or 5, some hinted maybe 6, right? And I challenged them to be honest about how long they would actually be gaming. I said, okay, but we already said this was your day off, right? How much of your time are you going to dedicate to your education? I said, I'm not even talking about homework, like what you are interested in and what you want to know. How much time will you spend doing that? How much time will you spend working out? Because you laying around in the bed, you're just sitting on the couch, on your phone, on your little machine, whatever, doing your thing. Could you take just like 5 minutes out of every hour to do 10 push-ups, 10 squats, 10 crunches, or 20 of each every hour that you game, right? Like, how is this impacting your physical self? I said, look, I'll be really honest. When I was a youngster, bro, our high school era, and it's not even a disrespect, we were way more fit because we had to be, right? Everybody was doing sports. Plus, just try not to get beat up and punked, right? And we could say, oh, but society does need some help on that. There's no doubt, always been that way, right? I also think it's funny how when most people, if you talk to them, they will say that they're bullied, but then somebody looks and it's like, you were his bully, right? That's just society. But what I'm saying is, bullying is out of control, was out of control then. It's probably worse now with the internet, right? But this idea that you had to be way more physically fit in previous eras, right? I was in high school in the mid 80s, you know what I'm saying? And you had to be physically fit or you was probably going to be a victim. But beyond that, we sought a higher level of fitness just in general. So many of these kids walk around looking like middle-aged moms and dads. This isn't even about body shaming. It's about knowing and expressing and fully being in your own potential. And so I said, how much you guys working out? How much you guys reading about what you say you want to learn, right? And then we looked back at martial arts and I said, so let's say if I know, even if I don't want to be in a physical confrontation, that on this day, in this way, in this moment, I have to be. How much is it to be mentally balanced? Like how important 1 to 10 is that? They said 8. No, I said emotional balance. Yeah, 1 to 10. Most people put it at an 8. I said physical balance 1 to 10. Most people put it at an 8. Then I said, what about the mental? And this guy was like, a 6. And I was like, I don't know. I think 6 is too low. I said because if the mind isn't balanced, that probably needs to be the 10, right? And then we can be pretty sure that the emotional will be in order, right? And if the mental and emotional are in order, only then can the physical move freely. Because I said, if your mental isn't right and your emotion isn't right, even if you have trained and even if you've practiced, you might be too scared. You might be too sad. You might be too angry to act as you should, right? And I said, and above this, depending on who you are and how you see life, is, I circled up top, the spiritual. The spiritual. So we had a fantastic conversation. Then I ran him through the arm drag and we had the coolest time, man. And all the kids were working on arm drags, and I was talking about like the monotony of jujitsu, the inherent monotony of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, right? I said, and I've been talking about this a lot in my classes at Half Gracie and over at LinkedIn, that monotony is the root of becoming good at jiu-jitsu, that you do a thing over and over and over. And I said sometimes it seems boring, sometimes it seems like you're not learning anything, sometimes it seems like you're getting it perfect, but there's this gap always between how you think you're moving and how you're actually moving, right? And unless you're testing that regularly, you're probably not as good as you think. The same goes for emotional balance. The same goes for mental and spiritual balance, right? Like if we're not proactively seeking that balance, we're probably losing it and or more vulnerable to it than we believe. So then I said, how much gaming is too much gaming? How much music is too much music? How much food is too much food? How much sleep is too much sleep? How much time with friends, right? Because we don't want to be like, oh, I'm just doing homework all day forever. But how much of time with friends is taken away from our ability to learn and be what we want to learn and be? And we just talked about like the importance of balance, man. And when I tell you that they all got it, they all got it. And so now as adults, right? As parents, as teachers, as educators, right? As just human beings in a society, how are we embodying our sense of temperance, our sense of balance, our sense of being grounded within ourselves about who we are, what we're doing, and why we're doing it? It is hard. I struggle all the time with balance, but that's why I always come back to it. I struggle with temperance, emotional temperance. That's why I always come back to it. And this is why things like Stoic journaling are so crucial. If you're not Stoic journaling, you are slipping because, again, there's always a much bigger gap than you believe between how you think you're functioning and how you are functioning. This is what I was talking about with my therapist the other day, because I've noticed a couple people in my realm toward the end of the year started losing their minds. People that I've known since childhood, people that I've known for so long, all of a sudden are showing real mental illness flickerings and flames within themselves. And so I said, dang, that person thinks that they're totally normal as they go through the day. How do I know that I'm not just as crazy as they are, but think I'm okay? So this is what led me actually to go back to therapy, right? Because I was like, I feel okay emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, but I'm always trying to, refine whatever. But am I really where I think I am? Am I really where I think I am? And so this is what we have to work on as a society. But our society will only be as real about it as we are individually. Individually. So, I've been really slipping on my yoga. I can feel the tightness, especially in the lower half of my body, um, in my back, right? Uh, I've been okay on the strength training, but not as I should be. And I'm definitely slipping on cardio, right? So there's a whole physical side of imbalance that I need to address. Mentally though, overall, and I think emotionally, I've been doing really good. But I think I've probably been leaning too far into that because it gets comfortable. One of the main reasons we lose balance is because we get comfortable with what we like, right? So if I like yoga, then hey, who cares about, yeah, I'm yoga over here all day. Here's the head behind the neck, here's the hip over there, shoulder, it's not popping out, right? But we need to be more deliberately balanced in what we do, and it's hard. So I talked about on the IG, I was saying that we want to, like, if we're looking for physical balance, right? And this is kind of like my North Star, what I always bring myself back to is 15 minutes of cardio, 15 minutes of strength training, 15 minutes of meditation, and I left something out. 15 minutes of yoga, 15 minutes of strength training, 15 minutes of meditation, 15 minutes of cardio. Yeah. Right. And then there's your hour. Everybody's got that hour in a day. Don't tell me you don't, because your Netflix hourly banking tells me you got that time. But you've got to have the mental discipline to do it. Right. Um, I've leaned way more into books and I've pulled back on a lot of uh Netflix watching, a lot last few years. I barely watch. You know, um, I recently saw this crazy thing called the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Pretty funny. And then I saw another thing. I think it's called like Please Leave or something like that. It was also on Netflix. Really funny, right? But like I'm missing all kinds of stuff that comes out in film and television. I miss a lot of it, and I don't miss it for real because I enjoy what I'm reading. I enjoy what I'm doing. I enjoy being outside, and so I'm trying to do more, right? But this idea of balance, of temperance, is really crucial because America is an extremist society, right? We are extreme in our politics. We are extreme in our social things. We are extreme in our racial and social stratifications. And it's very rare that we found ourselves to be an authentic moderate in anything as a country. And so, how do you plan to find your grounding? How do you plan to find and stay strong in your center? Right? I was explaining to the kids that, a lot of this thing about, you know, being being grounded and being centered is really in understanding how you learn. And what mode do you best learn by? Right? Do you best learn by doing? Do you best learn by watching? Do you best learn by listening? Right? Do you best learn how? What is your best way of learning? Because if you do that, you can ensure that enrichment stays steady. And if that enrichment stays steady, the ripple effect should go into other aspects of your life. It should, right? So, and also when we're seeking balance, and we see others that are not balanced, let's try to be kind to them because of our own imbalances, because of our own unsteadiness, because of how hard it is. We know it is just to get through our day in our world, in our family, at our job, right? At our fill in the blank. So I want you to investigate what balance looks like in your life. I want you to go back to having deliberate intentionality in how you cultivate your balance. And I also hope that you take on Stoic journaling to refine how you see yourself so that you can know how you're moving more authentically, right? Don't forget that the Stoic questions, right, remain the same for your Stoic journal. It's every day. I hope that you do it for at least a month so that you can start to see where you keep your word to yourself, where you don't, what's irritating you and what's working for you, where you being successful and where you still kind of struggling or in the middle, right? The first question, you know, what have I done good today, right? Then next, what have I done bad today, right? What's not working, right? Where was my mental or emotional self-control tested, right? That's the third question. Why did this occur? This is huge, right? Because you might find that you ate after you didn't want to eat, after you said you weren't going to eat. You might have found that you got angry at your spouse or your kid or a coworker or someone in traffic. But why? Why did that bother you? Why did you eat or not eat? Right? And when you know that, then bang, how can I improve? We don't ask ourselves that enough because we tend to be self-satisfied with who we think we are. How can I improve? How can I do this better? And this isn't about seeking perfection because we can never be perfect, but it is about trying to be better for ourselves, right? And the people around us and the ones we love, right? So look into temperance, find your balance, and then find your way to subscribe to this and send this to at least 2 people who you think could benefit from a conversation like this. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you on Bishop Chronicles on IG, and I definitely look forward to sharing more with you here. I'm going to have some guests coming up. I just have some equipment things. Obviously, the lighting is trash, and I have to figure out how to get this Rodecaster 2 plugged into my computer so I can get this mic rocking consistently. And then I got some great people lined up. I can't wait to share it with you. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. Holla at a scholar. You know how we do. Peace.